fundamentals. Today I'm going to try and talk a little bit about time signatures. This can feel like a really confusing topic, but we can get there together, honestly. A lot of music theory doesn't have a right or wrong answer because we're trying to categorize something that exists up here and write it down or organize it in a way that can be stored for later. So it's always going to be a shorthand, and someone's interpretation might be different from yours. But if you can say to yourself, my piece of music is in 6/8, then that means that when you come back to play it next time, you'll know how it goes, you can write down the speed of it very easily, and you won't accidentally be adding different beats halfway through. Well, I know a lot of people feel a bit alarmed about music theory, but it's really not scary. It's just a way of understanding the thing that's in the air. The first number is the number on the top. We might be used to 2, 4, or 3. These are pretty common time signatures. 4/4 is the one we know best, probably 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Most pop is in this one. We've got 4 beats, and each of those beats are big and chunky, and we like the sound of them. 2/4 is a little bit more lively. Coming down every 2 beats now. We also have 3/4. This is the first of what's called an odd time signatures, but it's so common that it's maybe not that odd. This is used in waltz time. But all of those have a 4 at the bottom. And that 4 at the bottom tells us what sort of a beat we're counting. So the number on the top is how many. That's always the same, very straightforward. The number on the bottom shows us about the internal beat. So remember, we have one beat and it can be broken down into different ways. If we look at our subdivisions, we know that the most common ways, the only ways we're going to worry about today, a beat can be broken down is quavers or 1/8 notes or triplets, so 3 parts. If the beat breaks in half or quarters or any division that's even, it's called simple time and we're used to it. If it breaks into 3s, it's called compound time and we're often less used to it. So if we've got a beat like this, we've got 2 different ways of breaking it down inside. Used to breaking it down. Again, most pop breaks down those beats internally in halves or further divisions of half. We might have 4 notes inside the beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 1. Those are divisions we're super used to. So any kind of multiple of 2, any even numbered divisions. That means we're going to have a 4 underneath. And we also have numbers with an 8 on the bottom, or a 16 or a 32, but we don't worry about them. We're just talking about numbers with an 8 on the bottom. So you might have seen this as 6/8, or 12/8, or 9/8. As soon as there's an 8 on the bottom, we're breaking up our beats into a slightly different way. So instead of dividing our beats neatly in half, now we're splitting them into 3 evenly spaced sections. So we've still got our beat is the same, but what we do inside it is different. So we're going to split it into 3. So that's got a really different feel. It's used a lot more in sort of jigs or lilting music is much more likely to be in 6/8. We don't hear so many pop songs in 6/8, so we're kind of less used to it. But in classical music, we've got a lot of it. And feel free to comment, feel free to let me know in the comments loads of examples of 6/8 time or these compound time signatures. So 6/8 is like this. So we've got our beat here, yeah? We're going to break it into 6/8. So 6/8 is 2 lots of 3. So that's 2 big beats broken down into 3. big beats, it's broken down into the 3. And 12/8 is 4 big beats broken down into 3. So 2/4 and 6/8 are actually more common than you'd think from looking at them as though they're fractions. They're both about 2 big beats in a bar, but it's about how they're broken down. So 2/4 sounds like this: 1 and 2 and 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 1. 6/8 is very similar, but those beats are broken down into 3. Similarly, 3/4 and 9/8 are more related than we think. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 1 and 2. Whereas 9/8 is. And in the same way, 4/4 and 12/8 are very similar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And this is where time signatures can get a bit muddy. The most confusing one is around 3/4, because 3/4 kind of feels like it should be friends with 6/8 and 9/8 and 12/8, and it sort of is. This is where time signatures come into a really weird problem, because it's kind of all made up. But time signatures are about how you feel the beat. So when it's written down on paper, it's very simple because you can just look at it. But music is always heard, really. So who decides if a piece of music is in 6/8 or it's 2 lots of 3/4 stuck together? Because if this is 3/4, 6/8 could be a similar idea. The same melody could be written out or interpreted either in 3/4 or 6/8. Sometimes things are clearly one or the other. Something slow and stately is definitely going to be 3/4. Something light and hoppy is probably going to be 6/8. But there's a lot of times where things are in the middle, in the grey area. The answer is there's no correct answer. Not really. Musicologists will honestly debate about this for hours, and maybe there are really intricate ways of knowing for sure. But for our purposes, it doesn't really matter. The main ones to be aware of is how is that beat broken up. This means that you're all going to be moving together. If you say 4 bars later or come in now, they know where your 1 is. And that's really what's important with time signatures. Time signatures are just a way of organising music into groups. 1 is normally the most important beat within music. So we need to know that our 1 is the same as the drummer's 1, the same as the guitarist's 1, the singer's 1. We're all feeling that downbeat together. It's the way that when a bit of music is on and you tap your foot, you know almost instinctively where to tap your foot, even though no one's telling you, oh, it's actually in 3/4. So those things are a really important guide. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're feeling the pulse the same the whole way through your song, then no one needs to know whether you were thinking of it in 3/4 or 6/13 or 7/54, whatever, as long as it's consistent. But having a name to it and being able to call it something is really useful, and it just helps you to set your metronome as well. So have a listen through different pieces of music, tap your foot along, and just start to count, because there's normally a natural point where things come back around and feel like they settle on 1. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this is useful and not too scary. Feel free to drop some comments as to songs and pieces that are in these 6/8 and these 12/8, these compound time signatures. We haven't even touched on 5s and 7s, but they kind of fit in the same area. Anything over 4 is quite straightforward, but these compound time signatures are a really useful string to add to your bow, so don't be scared of them. watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for a new video every week.